Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys podcast. I'm your host Michael, and Andy's here with me.
You actually let me leave for the weekend.
Dude, I cleaned the studio. I had to get you out of here, Andy. It was starting to stink. I had to revamp the place, get the cobwebs up out of here.
Pressure wash that chair.
Yes, I got rid of the chair. As you can see, we're in different chairs.
Oh, is that what that big burning pile was in the backyard?
Don't you mind that, Andy?
Could not get that smell out. Could not get that stain out.
You will not get that out of your mind either. But no, we got a new studio design, even though this episode doesn't have video. But it feels different for us. It's good to revamp, move some furniture around, man. It changes your energy.
I know, I'm sitting up higher now. I'm not all just like eaten by my chair now.
That's right. We're taking it back to the old school style where we're sitting across from each other at a table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back the way me and Lauren started. It's just a good way to podcast. You feel more alert. You feel more...
You just reach across to hold your hand if I need to now.
Yeah, right? We can share some water. What do you need? You know? I can turn you down when you're laughing too loud.
Yeah, it's just like hey, just put your own hand over my mic. Just like, hey.
Exactly. But guys, basically what we're saying is we are glad to be back in the studio. We're glad to be back with you. We had no episode last week because Andy ditched us to go to Gen Con.
I did. I was working at Gen Con. For anybody who doesn't know what that is,
yeah, I didn't either.
It's the National Board Game Convention up in Indianapolis. It was awesome. It's like 70,000 nerds up there just playing board games all weekend.
Oh my gosh.
It's like moving through a current of nerds and cosplayers. It was awesome. I was at home.
I'm glad you had a good time. That just sounds awful to me, Andy. I would like to go to like a video game con. I think.
Yeah, the board game con was pretty cool because you don't realize how many like board games are based off of video games. Like I sent you that they had a Fallout like mini game and stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's plenty of themed board games and I guess I'd be into those.
And the con was so big that it's like you could just get lost wandering the hall. They had the whole thing called like Artist Alley where it's literally just artists who bring all their shit and set up booths to sell these amazing art pieces everywhere and stuff. And like there's a big play hall where everybody's demoing stuff. And you can go into private events where you can buy tickets to demo everything. It was a pretty fun game. It was like I said, I got to work the events, so I got to demo some games for this company, and I got to interact with people, and got to actually go into a room one day instead of actually just wandering the sea of people on the most crowded day. I was in a nice little air conditioned room with like scheduled times where people would come in and play a board game with me.
Oh, just like one-on-one or just like a group of people?
Yeah, like you had a little scheduled time where like I was demoing this one game. It was like a 4-person game and you could buy a ticket to come in and play a full game of this thing or whatever. And it was like an hour window. Yeah. Yeah, you had like groups of people coming in and I would teach them how to play the game and they would just sit there and play it and I would just get to, answer any questions and sell them on the game.
Right.
So yeah, I just got to like basically just play board games with people for like 2 days and get paid to do it. And
oh hell yeah!
Got to go into the con an hour early and wander the hall before everybody else got in there.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet. Got some great deals, and I got to be on the stream one day. They were doing a big eBay booth. Like eBay had a big presence there.
Right.
And they were doing a live stream every day, and like they had these guys up on the stage like opening Pokemon cards like for the live stream.
Yeah.
And they had to they were like first day they were like if you were in line they had the guy coming around with the camera and like the microphone, and they were just like interviewing people in line. To be like, hey, I would give you a Pokemon card pack. You open it on the stream, okay? We'll see what you get. You get to keep all the cards.
Right.
And they came up to me. I was the first person they came up to, and they're like, hey, man, tell us your name, where you're from, and tell us like an interest, or like it was like, tell us a weird talent that you have.
Oh, geez, put you on the spot.
I was like, hey, man, I'm Andy. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I can snap my toes like you can with your fingers. And the look on that man's face was just like, ugh. And he stuttered for a second, like, "Oh, you actually answered that."
He was like, "Oh, you got OnlyFans?
You do feet stuff?" But he was like, "How about you just open the cards, there, Shrek?" So I got to sit there and pull cards on the stream. We got to go. Like, "Ooh, I don't know what this is. It's Pokemon. I'm just in here for the free stuff."
Yeah.
Got like a Zapdos. And then I saw this one person get pulled, and it was just funny because she was pulling the cards, and the person behind her, I guess, was her husband.
Yeah.
And he was just like jumping over her back the whole time, being like, "But that's my wife. That's my wife. Hey, this is my wife." And it's like, cool, bro.
Calm down, buddy.
Even the guy on stage was like, "That's my wife," because his wife was on stage doing the presentations with him.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Hey, there's a camera. There's a camera.
I want to be on it too.
I want to be on the camera." I'm just like, "I'm talking to you, bro."
Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you had fun. And there's a con for everything nowadays.
There really is.
And they're massive. It's like every con is big now. If you go to the right city, it's like there's some city in the U.S. that takes whatever you're interested in very, very serious.
Like, so there was 70, it was like a 70,000 person sold out
Jesus
con.
Christ.
They were not selling tickets at the door
And you
because they
said-
were sold out.
And you said eBay was big there,
Yeah,
right?
it was
Had
a
a big
eBay
presence.
booth, yeah.
I feel like eBay's making a comeback, man. They really are.
eBay's more of a
Don't
eBay's
sleep
more
on
of a
eBay, peeps.
They're more of like a presence now. They're more than just like, oh, that website where you can like sell your old shit. It's like eBay is more of like a business now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
eBay's a
legit,
brand.
and they're beating Amazon and Walmart in a lot of prices, man. You got to check them out. Mm-hmm. Give
I'm very
eBay
much
a
aware of
second
that.
look. Give eBay a second look if you haven't in a while. But guys, thanks for joining us this week. We are back. Remember, you can always catch all of these episodes and so much more on Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. That is the best way to support the show. We appreciate anyone on there very, very much. And we thank you guys for listening. There's links to Patreon right below the description of this episode. Also on the free platform, though, we have Sandu, Strange and Unexplained. And you can listen to new episodes of Sandu every Monday. And sometimes they even have video to go with them, don't they, Andy?
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes you just never know. But the video is a cool touch to Strange and Unexplained. And when we're able to, guys, we do video versions of that with pictures and all that types of thing to go along with the case on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to True Crime Guys on the YubTubs.
We are still trying to make this show have more of a YouTube presence in the long run.
Yeah, Andy is.
But
He's doing a good
takes,
job.
It takes a long time to do those to get those videos editing and stuff. It's just us, guys. It's just us.
I told you, man.
Okay.
It's a freaking undertaking. It really is. But this week on TCG, this case was a suggestion, and it was a damn good one, Andy. It was from a new listener who goes by the name of Justice. Justice, thank you very much. Justice emailed us, and you can too if you want, at truecrimeguys@gmail.com, and told us about the strange disappearance of Heidi Allen. And oh my God, I looked into it. Definitely a TCG case. Some people would say it's unsolved. I think it's, well, first off, technically, it is solved.
Oh,
So,
yeah. It's a weird little asterisk. Yeah.
Yeah, it is solved. It's solved incorrectly. But it's solved nonetheless. So this is one of those rare cases that could have been a Strange and Unexplained case or a True Crime Guys case. But I thought, I'd rather talk to Andy about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to discuss about this, and because there's so much technically unsolved, there's a lot to talk about. But Heidi Marie Allen was 18 years old when she disappeared from her job at the D&W convenience store in New Haven, New York. Her last transaction was recorded on the cash register at 7:42 a.m., and then approximately at 8:15 a.m., a civilian flagged down a sheriff's patrol unit and said that the store was left unattended. Heidi's jacket, purse, and car keys were found there, along with her maroon-colored station wagon. Her body was never found, and the suspects don't really make any sense, Andy. This case has all the tellings of conspiracy. And I honestly can't wait to get paranoid about it.
The more I looked into this case, I really did feel like the movie, The Usual Suspects. Like this is like this lineup of people, and it's like
It is such a lineup of people.
I'm
going to do my best
It's like
to not make
the
it
real
confusing.
Kaiser Soze of this situation. And like,
It's more than one, man.
Yeah.
There's some guilty parties up in here. But let's roll that intro and let's get into it.
How would you describe her?
She was funny, normal, just outgoing.
When you heard she was missing, what was your thought?
It was crazy. You never know. I mean, it's kind of weird that stuff like that goes down in a little small town, that somebody just comes up missing.
Yeah. I came across this record about your son, Brent.
Okay.
And it said that he was interviewed by an FBI forensic examiner in November of '94 because he'd been saying to his counselor and that he had seen Heidi Allen in a van with bugs and snakes crawling across her feet, and that he saw her on a property and that she had been burned and maybe some remains put in a garage. You ever heard that before?
I've never heard that before in my life. That's crazy.
All right. So Heidi Marie Allen was born September 14th, 1975, and she grew up in Oswego County, New York. Her sister described her as happy and goal-oriented and, most of all, selfless. Her goal was to be a teacher and eventually a counselor. And at the time she disappeared, she had actually submitted over 200 applications to teach at different schools.
No, job market's not much better today.
No, it's
Just
not.
throwing out applications everywhere.
Right. Heidi was working her job of 2 years at the D&W convenience store in New Haven, New York, and it sat at the intersection of New York routes 104 and 104B. So Heidi opened up shop on April 3rd, 1994 at around 5:45 a.m. Now, because it was so early and she was opening the store, she was accompanied by her boyfriend, Brett Law. This was pretty normal practice. Anytime she opened the store before daylight, Brett would go with her, at least until customers started coming in, which was usually around 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in this particular morning, Brett testified that he did leave around 7. And like I said, at the beginning, the last transaction was at 7:42 a.m. On the cash register. Okay.
You'll start noticing too, if you ever notice these gas stations, if you work like the opening shift, you start noticing regulars too, like people who are like there when the gas
They
station's
stop there
gonna
on their way to
open. They're
work
gonna be
every
there,
week.
Like when
Yeah,
it's open, they're
every
like
day.
waiting outside the door, like, oh hey, you about to open up? Like I need to get my coffee. And
Yeah.
It's like so yeah, being there like I'm just gonna hang out until Greg shows up. You know he's gonna come in here and get his Danish. And,
Yeah. He's Danish and his Marlboros.
yeah, it's like it
Yeah.
starts being a regular thing at these little gas stations too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at around 8:15, that is when someone flagged down an officer and reported that the business was open, the lights were on, the gas pumps were working, but the store didn't have any employees. And basically what we're saying is money was piling up on the counter, customers were coming in, they were getting what they needed, and they were leaving. Some customers paid, some didn't.
Yeah. Well, there was only a few minutes of a window of like when she could have
Yeah.
gone and when she was last seen. So it's like
Well, it's
maybe-
about 30 minutes. The last transaction at 7:42, and then 8:50. That's the last transaction now.
Yeah.
Now she could have stood at the cash register while nothing happened, but this is at a pretty busy intersection.
Yeah. So it's like there was like I think there was like what like $9 or something like that just on the counter and just being
Yeah.
like I'm just getting this fuel. So
Yeah,
okay.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Now at the gas station, police did find Heidi's jacket, her purse, her car keys, and of course her station wagon was still parked out front. Heidi's family was contacted, and they made their way down to the gas station, which was by now a full-fledged crime scene. Her family suspected foul play right away because to them, the thought of her running away just seemed impossible. So investigators started looking at the last transaction that Heidi had that day. Receipts showed it to be a man named Richard Thibodeau. Now, Richard had already called in, okay, to give some information. He left the store. He was there at the store at 7:40, whatever. He was the last transaction. Richard Thibodeau was, okay? He bought cigarettes. He went home, and then he saw on the news that a girl had disappeared from the gas station. So he tells his wife, he's like, well, gosh, I was just there. He said, and everything seemed normal.
Yeah.
He's like, I was just there.
Yeah, like right
And-
after that.
And she's like, well, maybe you ought to call so the police know it can narrow down their window. So this guy calls in to give this, to give his little testimony of basically everything was normal at this time. I know for a fact. Nobody looked suspicious, and it changed him and his brother's life forever. So Richard had claimed that he just went in the store, he bought cigarettes, and he left. And when finding out that Heidi disappeared, he was quick to call and say that he'd seen her that morning. Then the tips started coming in. On May 25th, police hastily arrested Richard Thibodeau, along with his brother, Gary. They searched Richard's car after a witness claimed to have seen a car similar to his the morning of Heidi's disappearance, just similar. And then two men were loading a woman into it, and his car happened to be a van. Mm-hmm. Okay,
pretty like distinctive van too.
Yes, very distinctive, and they said nothing about the distinctiveness of this van, which you definitely would have.
Yeah. Well, one person does. One witness says,
Well,
I
this
saw
is
like
later
a, yeah,
on.
it's
This
like
is
one
much later
person's
on.
Like, yeah, there's one witness who's like, it was this color, right? Or this like design. It's like, well, this van is very unique. So was it this van or not?
Like this van has different color panels on it.
On
has
both sides.
Two different color rear doors, different color fenders. Like it's just noticeable.
Yeah.
Very. Now, so Gary was obviously being looked into. Gary, which is Richard, who's Richard's brother, he was being looked into just because the tip claimed that it was 2 men, not just one.
Yep.
So they're just like, okay, well, he must have got his brother, right? This guy probably doesn't have any friends. But their homes were also searched, and nothing was found. Then, conveniently, another tip came in claiming to have seen Richard and Gary in Palermo, New York, carrying an object 8 to 10 feet long, wrapped in plastic and tied in rope, and they dumped it in a wooded area. How fucking specific, dude.
That's like very
this
Sopranos-esque.
This tip is so specific that it just seems, it's like, I don't know, but, I saw them in this area and they were carrying an object, I don't know, about the size of a body, wrapped in plastic, tied in rope, into a wooded area and buried it. I don't know. It could just be something, nothing.
I don't know. One of them said they had to call Tone about something.
Yeah.
And, you just describing a scene from The Sopranos? What are you?
It's some bullshit.
They even called his brother. They were like, "Hey, do you have an alibi for where you were that morning?" And he was like, "Yeah, I got off work that night, and I was still asleep."
He was
at that
still
time. He's
in
like,
bed
I
with
was
his
in
wife.
bed
Yep.
asleep that night or that morning. I wasn't even out that morning.
Nope.
And his wife's literally like, "Yeah, he came home from work and went right to he's in bed at that time."
Richard Thibodeau's brother Gary was not even at the store at all that day. Mm-hmm. At all. Okay, very important. Now, the area was searched, this area where they said they had the body wrapped in plastic, tied in rope, and dumped it in this wooded area. And guess what? Nothing was there, Andy.
Oh, really?
Shocker. Yeah.
Must have buried it too deep, huh?
Yeah. And while Gary was in jail for unrelated charges, he had a little bit of a checkered past. That didn't help, okay? That didn't help. But nothing like this.
No.
Nothing like this, okay? But while he was in jail for unrelated charges, Gary's cellmates said, this is also convenient. This just keeps piling on. This is all this is he said shit. But his cellmates said that he told them that he murdered Heidi in a drug deal gone wrong.
Yeah. Really? You just, this guy who has no previous, like violent crimes, no history of violence like this, he's just going to brutally murder this woman he doesn't really know?
Doesn't know. Right. And you can't put them there. You can't put him there when she disappeared. You know when she disappeared, and you can't put him there.
Yeah, this 18-year-old girl who works at a gas station, this guy's going to murder her of a drug deal gone wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
It doesn't make any freaking sense. Now, again, I mean, obviously, both of these men denied any involvement, Richard and Gary, because they have none. But when they were tried, Richard was found innocent. But his brother Gary, who wasn't even there, wasn't even at the gas station, dude. They can put Richard at the gas station. He even said he was there.
He called and told them.
Yes. But Gary was found guilty and sentenced to 25 years in 1995, 25 years to life.
There was no physical evidence introduced in the trial. There was only circumstantial and only testimony from
the tips and testimonies.
Yeah, from cellmates in jail who said he told them this, and then literally just being like, "Well, your brother was there," and the people said they saw 2 men, and you would have been with your brother in that van. So it's like
there's a really good documentary on it on YouTube that you guys can watch for free. It's about 52 minutes. I've linked it below the description of this episode, and you can hear audio of the cellmate who's testifying, and dude, it's so vague. It's like everything he's saying you could have read in a paper. Just one article. There is nothing specific. Yep. There is nothing that would lead you to believe that Gary actually said anything to him.
No.
Like this guy is he's just saying something because someone approached him and gave him a deal to get some time off his sentence so they could prosecute Gary. And that's what makes this case so interesting.
Yeah, there's some suspicious things where you're like, how would you think like I said, there's no physical evidence. There was nothing that even remotely tied Gary to being at the crime scene, to being remotely even tied to this woman.
Right.
And he is now in jail for 25 to life.
Exactly. So, from 95 to 2004, really nothing happens. Okay? And in 2004, Heidi's cousin Melissa received an envelope in the mail that contained a gold bracelet that she had given Heidi. Though apparently for some reason she waited years to tell anyone about this. But really nothing came of it. Police never looked into it and tried to find, where it was shipped from. They never.
It wasn't shipped. If you remember, that was one of the things that there was no postage, there was no postmark on the envelope.
Oh, that's
so
right.
That meant that it had to have been
But in 2004, they could have checked for fingerprints and stuff, but they didn't.
Yeah, it would have had to have been hand placed in there, but they didn't. They did not take it into evidence.
No, they didn't. But then something very important happened in 2013 when a woman named Tanya Priest called in regarding Heidi's case. Tanya claimed in 2006 she was watching TV with her friends Victoria West and her boyfriend James Steen when a news report about Heidi's disappearance came on. And when Tanya asked if her friends felt Gary had killed Heidi, Steen replied, "Do you really want to know?" Steen then claimed that his two friends, Michael Bohr and Roger Breckenridge, had taken Michael's white van to the D&W the morning of Heidi's disappearance. They attacked and drugged her outside and then drug her into the van. They took her to Roger's home and beat her so bad that they eventually murdered her. They then dismembered her, put her underneath the floorboards of an abandoned cabin in the woods before finally burning her clothes. Now, their reasoning for the murder was that Roger owed drug money to someone, and he had expressed this to Heidi that morning. Heidi apparently said that she was going to inform the police about this, and that's when the men realized that they couldn't let her tell anyone. Just to add a little clout to this story, in 2010, James Steen, the guy telling this awful story here, he murdered his now ex-girlfriend Victoria West and her new boyfriend. And when serving time for the murders, it's said that he bragged about the killings, including Heidi Allen's killing.
It's also, that's the reason when he actually killed his new girlfriend, that's what prompted, I think it was Tanya, that's what prompted her to call the police to be like, well, I didn't think he was actually violent, but then he killed these two people a few years later over jealousy. So I'm like, maybe he was telling the truth. I should call somebody.
Exactly. Now, years before Heidi's disappearance, Michael Bohr, the other gentleman who Steen placed at the gas station that morning, he was charged with unlawful imprisonment after following a woman late at night, attacking her, and dragging her back to his vehicle, but she eventually escaped. But this was just a few years before Heidi's disappearance.
One of those guys has a track record that lines up perfectly with this kind of behavior.
Yeah, and the other one's bragging about doing it. Mm-hmm. Now, because of the information given by Tanya Priest in 2013, police decided to set her up on a recorded call with Roger Breckenridge's girlfriend, Jennifer Westcott. It was her house in which they took Heidi first, who Jennifer Westcott was allegedly present for Heidi's murder as well. Now, Tanya repeated the story she was told about the murder to Jennifer, and Jennifer confirmed the story but didn't really say much. This call is available online, and I want to play you guys a little snippet of it. So here it is.
He just told me that him, Michael Bohr, and Roger had taken Mike's van to the store, and that they grabbed her from the store and they brought her to your house. And he had said that you did flip out when you guys got there. And, I stuck up for you, and I don't blame you for flipping out. And basically, that's, what he had said had happened. And that's, it's not your fault, though, So I knew a long time ago. I just didn't want you to think that I thought less of you.
I really, in my own head, dropped that shit.
Right.
I don't know, probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to get it gone.
Well, how the hell why did they even involve you or even do this? I mean,
I don't know.
you were young.
All I know is that for cocaine.
It was for cocaine. Yeah, sounds like the area. I don't know, kiddo. I love you, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
Did you even know
And I
that?
couldn't get him to go.
Did you even know that this was Heidi that they brought there, and that this is what they were gonna do? You had no clue. They just showed up with her.
Yeah.
What a bad position for you. Probably scared the shit out of you.
Well, it's not even. They didn't even bring her in the house.
Yeah, that's.
Gator said the man.
Well, Thumper told me they took her out in the garage, and
Now, when Tanya says Thumper, she's actually referring to James Steen.
me and Vicky at this point, honestly, Jennifer didn't believe him, and he said that they took her out in the garage and that they beat her till she died.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's what he had told me. But I mean, as long as that's all you know and everything, and I mean, the only thing you said you did was junk the van with Roger, then I wouldn't really worry about anything. And you really had no part of it. And what'd they do? Just leave her in the van when they got to your house?
Yeah.
Who actually freaking killed her?
I have no idea. It didn't happen around me.
Oh, good. At least you weren't part of that. It's bullshit that this even happened. And when was that? When the day she come up missing?
Oh, I don't remember.
Why didn't you say anything? Because they scared you, hon?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. Well, who scared you? Roger? Probably Roger living with you?
Yeah. Yeah. It was all crazy.
Yeah,
Hung
well.
out with all them people.
What'd they do? Threaten you if you said anything?
No. I just didn't. They never said anything. Nothing was ever said to me in regards to it. And crazy.
Did you ever think about turning Roger in for it, honey?
Huh?
Did you ever think about just turning Roger in for it?
No.
No. They scared you that bad, huh?
I would never open a can of worms like that.
Right. Why? You hate him. He's done so much to you. You know?
And I've been through enough. I don't want to even deal with anything new.
No, I can't say as I blame you.
God almighty. I'm not doing the investigator's job. I don't get paid enough. They're not going to give me a big reward.
Right.
You know? They're just going to laugh in my face and fucking, hell out of here. What do you mean? Someone's already been convicted and blah, blah, blah.
No, did you see anything that happened during it, or just freaking you just flipped out when you knew she was there? Oh, good for you.
I don't even think, honestly, I knew it was her.
Right.
I don't know. I was 18. I can even barely remember. I've done a lot of drugs since then. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
18 years ago. Got me.
Right. How the heck did you find out it was Heidi in the end?
I didn't. I just put two and two together.
Yeah, at first it sounds pretty damning, but when confronted with the call by investigators, Jennifer just denied everything and simply said that she just wanted to get off the phone with Tanya. But after this, James Steen, Michael Bohr, and Roger Breckenridge were all questioned, but no charges were ever filed against any of them in Heidi's case.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the police now doubted Tanya Priest and began to think that she made her whole story up. But she was adamant about Steen's confession and of Gary's innocence. So she gave all of her information to Gary's lawyer, the man doing 25 to life for this, who wasn't even there. Meanwhile, Richard, Gary's brother, was also gathering evidence to help free him.
I don't remember if you put this in there as well. That van that was mentioned earlier. Remember how that van was so unique? They were
Yeah.
it was like blue or black, maybe it was like a stripe, and then like one guy was like, "Yeah, it was that van. That fucking van that this guy has is a pretty unique van too. Like it's a very similar style, but it's a very unique van. It's not like it's like, oh yeah, he's got a Chrysler Town and Country. No, it's this very unique looking van with a specific stripe and everything.
Right.
So it's like, so that guy's also got a van that's pretty unique that matches that color scheme.
Yeah, the vans can get confusing in this. Yeah, they can. But among the documents that were discovered by Richard and also Tanya, among those documents was a police informant card with the name Julia Roberts on it. Now, this was discovered to have been Heidi Allen's informant card. The card even clearly stated what Heidi was doing for the police, which was, quote, serving as an informant for drug-related crimes for the local police.
God.
I mean, pretty hard to misunderstand. And this was found on the ground.
Yeah, apparently one of the officers who worked with her dropped her informant card outside the fucking place where she worked.
And this is one of those little things that was kind of left out of the original trial as well. But in the lawyer's defense, I guess, or in the police defense, her family and even her friends, and especially the police, deny that Heidi was a police informant. Mm-hmm. Still, even though, dude, it's a guaranteed thing. Yeah. I mean, it's a guaranteed thing. Because
she had she had a little run in at like 15 or something like that with like drug possession or something, and had been like a informant for like 3 years or almost or something. What they estimated? Yeah.
Yeah, and the police went as far as to claim that they would never use a teenager as an informant, Andy. Oh, come on. Come on.
Really?
We found the card, bro.
Really?
Yeah. A coworker of Heidi's also expressed that she seemed very nervous and on edge before her disappearance. Also, that Heidi stated that the police wanted her to discover people in the local drug trafficking circles. More specifically, the cocaine variety, Andy.
Oh yeah, nothing light. No, maybe a little reefer here and there. No, can you go get some of that Colombian nose powder? Yeah, get that, please.
Yeah, seriously. Figure out where that's coming from. That'd be great. Give us a call about that.
Can you find the mainline shipper for us, please?
Yeah. So police obviously decided not to release any information about Heidi's informant status to the public. But when being questioned, Michael Bohr, the driver of the white van the day Heidi disappeared, made a comment about the discovery of the informant ID. And at the time, it was not public information. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when they followed up with him, they're like, wait, how did you know about that? And he's like, oh, I just heard it word of mouth. Somebody told me that she was an informant. That could possibly be why she was killed.
Yeah. I just kind of heard it at the bar one night. I don't remember who said it. It was just background.
Yeah. And it's funny because shortly after this interview with Michael Bohr in 2014, a collapsed cabin in the woods was found by cadaver dogs. And inside the cabin, the floorboards appeared to have been dug up, Andy. Man, that's weird. Looks like something had moved, But the cadaver dogs obviously knew there was a dead body there. But when they got there, gosh, there wasn't one.
Yeah, why were all these floorboards like recently dug back up?
That's weird. That crazy story seems to be carrying a little more weight, huh?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. On January 15th, 2015, a witness actually testified, finally, in Gary's favor, saying that they reported seeing a van parked at the D&W that was not similar to Richard and Gary's van. Mm-hmm. Okay? But actually more similar to the three newer suspects' van. Like Andy said, it's also a very unique van. And they said they seen this van around 6 a.m.
Yeah, like I said, they're both like, when you see the pictures of those vans, you're like, oh yeah, those are pretty unique. Either you saw this one or you saw that one.
Yeah, and there was also another statement by another witness that said that they saw the same van, and then they added that they saw a man and woman arguing right outside of it, when the man then hit the woman over the head with a bat and then drug her into the van.
See, I didn't see the bat part. I did see that they saw the witness, like they got attacked, like it's like that.
Yeah.
And this witness was like, so many years later being like, yeah, I saw these guys arguing outside a van, and this guy just like attacked this woman and drug her into the van, but I didn't really think much of it. And you're like,
well, the witness claimed that they never reported it because there was an arrest in Heidi's case, so they just assumed that it was solved already.
Not my business.
And here's what's crazy: when he saw James Steen's picture in the paper that he was being investigated, he said it was him that he had seen that morning in 1994. So James Steen was saying it was Roger Breckenridge, but it was really James and Michael
Bohr?
Bohr, yeah. Now, another statement came from Roger Breckenridge's ex-wife, stating that on the day of Heidi's murder, Roger left early and was gone until late. When Roger arrived home, he was heard on the phone with James Steen expressing that he did not want to deal with the van and that there was blood on the back seat. Another woman came forward saying that she overheard Roger and Steen saying that Heidi's body was in the van they picked her up in, and that we took that bitch to the scrapyard in the van, had it crushed, and she was shipped to Canada. She's long gone now, end quote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just so specific.
Yeah.
That is so specific. It's hard not to find weight in those words. The documents eventually showed that these individuals came forward with information on these three men, Steen, Breckenridge, and Rogers, before, actually, Gary's conviction. Yeah.
That adds some weight.
Now, despite all this new information, from Tanya Priest's story to all these eyewitness accounts and statements, Gary still wasn't released from prison. And unfortunately, he fell very ill in 2018 and actually passed away. And in his last TV statement, he said, "I didn't do it, and they know I didn't do it."
Mm-hmm. Because this is
So
one of those
sad,
fucking
man.
times where they can't admit that they were wrong
It's-
and that they put an innocent man away, and they would rather just sit there and argue, we were
God.
right, you're wrong, don't question us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Oh, God, it's heartbreaking, dude. There's an interview of him as well in the documentary that I was talking about earlier. And in one of the things, the reporter asked him, he's like, do you have any hope? Would this hope mean anything to you anymore? And he said, I've got so many health problems. He said, what's the point of being free?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm not free.
Yeah.
I have to live like this, so it doesn't matter if they find me innocent or not at this point.
Yeah.
He said, but they know I didn't do it.
Yep.
Them guys, Steen, Breckenridge, and Rogers, absolutely involved, as well as some police. They have to be. I mean, to blatantly overlook the things that they are, they have to be involved, right? So a couple of afterthoughts, something that some people bring up. They're like, well, what about Brett Law? What about Heidi's boyfriend, right? Well, he was cleared early on. He had an alibi. He had nothing to do with this. But this theory holds a lot of weight, and it coincides with the stuff that we already know. This is a pretty interesting theory about a boy named Brent Moore, who was only 3 at the time of Heidi's murder, and he claims to have witnessed her murder, pretty much, or at least right after. He's claimed, and he knew Heidi, okay? He could identify a picture of her. He knew her name. She babysat him.
Yep.
Okay, she was very close with this young boy. This is not some kid who had some weird premonition or nothing like that. He knew Heidi. And he said that he's seen Heidi in a van with bugs and snakes crawling across her feet. She had been burned and her remains were put in a garage. And they looked into the property that the garage sat on, but it was privately owned and the owners wouldn't give consent to search it.
I mean,
That's a weird. And then they couldn't tie the owners to the case in any way.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
simply
Like,
because of
there's
that's what
so many people in this. Like, even there's way more names than even what I've mentioned, and it just gets very confusing. Like Brent Moore's father, his name is Richard. I can't. His name's not Richard Moore. He has a different last name. But he's involved in this as well. I believe he was there, and I think he knows what happened to Heidi. He is interviewed in that documentary right at the end, and the host actually asks him about his son and about his testimony, and he's just like, there's just no truth to that. He was 3 years old. There's no truth to that. But I mean, God, it was so specific.
Yeah.
The stuff the kid said, and it goes along with everything. He says that he saw her in the van. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And just
that they took that van back to the garage, let it sit there for a while.
Here's one of the most damning things that he said. He said that an officer wearing shiny boots shot her.
See, that's where it starts getting a little risky too. Because if she was an informant, if she did know people in the drug trade, if she did actually was able to inform on people who were selling, like she may have stepped on the wrong toes. She
She absolutely did, Andy. That's what happened here.
And for them,
For a
somebody
fact,
to see
they
that
got
card
cops
sitting
on the
up there.
payroll. Like this is a freaking organized thing here in this little tiny town, bro.
Well, if she was a witness, if she was an informant, maybe she got put in witness protection. I don't think she did.
No. Well, they knew that she had to go, and they also knew that somebody had to pay for it because, unsolved cases can get reopened, especially with that much evidence. And so they needed it to be solved.
Mm-hmm. And that was the sad thing about Gary was like Gary.
That's the saddest thing about
he had
this
like
whole
a
damn thing,
checkered
man.
past. Like I think Gary had like some minor drug offenses or like some like domestic issues or literally he had not. I don't think he'd actually been to prison or anything like that. But he had some run-ins with the law.
Yeah.
But his brother had nothing, and his brother called in to say like, "Hey, I was there. Like I saw her. Is everything okay? Like I bought cigarettes from her." And then they're like, "Oh
That's
yeah,
what's so
you and
crazy
your
about it.
brother were there." He's like, "No, I was there, and I bought cigarettes. So your brother was with you?" No.
It's like
Why do you think he was there?
if this guy did this, you think he would fucking call and put himself at the crime, especially being the last one to freaking see her
with that unique of a van? Like he's like he knows like my van is parked outside. Like everybody knows that's my van.
Yeah.
People who drove by were like, "Oh yeah, that's fucking Richard's van because it's so unique." So he's like, "I'm not gonna fucking tell them that I was like." So yeah, it would make no sense that he would do that. He passed a polygraph test too. Like he took a polygraph test about that and passed it all.
Well, it came out inconclusive. But polygraph, that's just another thing that they use to make them look guilty. Like with all those tips that started flooding in after they were arrested, with Gary's cellmate coming out against them, all that stuff. That combined with the polygraph, that's all the case they had. Andy. They just had all this circumstantial shit that was totally manufactured, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like,
totally manufactured.
I said that early on. I was like, there is not a single bit of physical evidence that was actually put into this case. There was nothing tying Gary to being in that place, to being with that woman, to doing anything to her. And yet he went to jail for 25 to life on testimony from cellmates.
It's sad.
Like I said, circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
And then when people came forward later on to say like, oh no, it wasn't this van. No, it was 3 people we saw. It was like we think it was this person. They're like,
right.
Yeah, we already got Gary though. So
yeah, we got
that's
Gary.
Good
We're
enough
good.
For us.
We're good
enough. We already got somebody, right? We don't need to crowd this up, right?
Right.
Let's just complicate things now. Let's
right.
just
Justice has been served.
That's old shit.
Someone's
man.
paying for that.
Yeah, so we already got somebody for that. We don't need to get somebody else. Why you?
The whole thing is creepy. It's a creepy case. It deserves a lot more attention. It's just it shows some small town corruption for sure. It's a case I had to do. Thank you very much, Justice, for sending us that case suggestion. And again, guys, like I said, if you have a case suggestion, you can email us truecrimeguys@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at True Crime Guys, or Facebook or X at True Crime Guys if you'd like. But guys, thank you so much for listening. This episode is brought to you by Oh My Gaia.
It is Oh My Gaia time,
Oh
Michael.
My Gaia is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And at Oh My Gaia, did I mention they use only all-natural, paraben, and aluminum-free organic ingredients, Andy?
I think you've mentioned it once or twice on this show before.
I think I have.
But I'm telling you guys, it helps out right here in this summertime, down this southern heat. We sit in this hot studio all afternoon, and guess what?
It does.
It doesn't stink in here.
And you know what? Thinking of it, Justice, who gave us the case suggestion this week, actually mentioned Oh My Gaia in the email and talked about how Oh My Gaia has changed their life as well.
I can see what I'm talking about.
There you go. And guys, there's tons of scents to choose from. There's vanilla, there's cherry almond, there's sandalwood, there's lavender, lemongrass, there's fireside, bergamot amber, pear, sweet pea, sailor, barbershop. And we have our very own scent, True Crime Pine. And there's so many more that I didn't mention, guys. But True Crime Pine is a great place to start, if you ask me. I'm a little bit biased, but if you guys Because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word CREEPER for 15% off your order. That's CREEPER for 15% off at ohmygaia.com. OHMYGAIA.com. There's a link right below the description of this episode. And don't forget to use that code word CREEPER for 15% off. You won't regret it. Also, give Oh My Gaia a follow on Instagram at shop_ohmygaia to find out about all types of deals and specials and new scents and all that kind of good stuff. Stuff you may not have known about.
Keep it on your pits. Smelling
That's
fresh
right.
all summer, guys. Summer's almost over, but you will smell fresh for the rest of it.
I thought some of that was going to rhyme.
No, I'm not. I'm not a poet.
Okay.
I don't write the songs.
And I'm well
around
aware
here.
of it.
You write the songs around here, motherfucker.
That's right. Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for this week. I think next week, is it Patreon? I think it's
Because last week we
Patreon
were
again.
off last week.
But this is the third episode in a row, Andy. It's the third freebie in a row, technically.
Okay. There's some
think
headlines and shenanigans coming y'all's way.
I guess so. If not, then I miscounted, and we'll be back here with a free one. But guys, either way, just keep on creeping, and make sure you check all the links to everything below. Subscribe to that YouTube. Please check out patreon.com/truecrimeguys and look at all the stuff you're missing. All right, that's all I ask. Until next time, guys, just keep on creeping.
Bye.